Nvidia is a big customer, and this stock just spiked because Nvidia actually upped their stake.
The market is boosting Nvidia's stock after yet another earnings beat, but there is far more money to be made by following Nvidia's playbook.
I like looking at companies that Nvidia personally invests in.
Legendary trader and mentor Tim Sykes is known for finding these big plays right before they pop.
This stock actually spiked from roughly $15 to $40 a share.
Now he's sharing one of his secrets following Nvidia's investments.
Nvidia knows where the industry is going. They see where the momentum is, so they're pushing it.
And if you're looking at the wide range of new companies out there, picking the one that Nvidia is investing in seems like a good bet.
Nvidia knows.
Don't miss Tim's analysis of Nvidia's earnings and his list of 3 companies that are rising right with Nvidia. Let's dive in. Tim, so great to have you on the channel today, especially the day after Nvidia earnings. What a report that came out, and the market has really been reacting already.
Yeah, look, it's amazing. You know, everyone's always wondering, like, when is the AI bubble going to pop? When are the valuations too stretched? But Nvidia, quarter after quarter, they keep finding new ways to beat expectations. Even with the limitations with the tariffs, they're still, crushing it. And I think that's why the stock is up, roughly 5% as we're speaking.
Yeah, I could see some volatility coming. There's always that volatility post Nvidia earnings. But I think there's some really great points that were made in the earnings call last night that we could dive into a little bit. And that is Jensen basically saying this is just the beginning, that there's a huge market out there for this build out of AI across the globe yet. What are your thoughts on where AI stands right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a whole new technology. We have no idea where it's going to go. Everyone's very excited. If you look at the valuations, I think that we're pricing in a lot of future growth, a lot of future expectations. In the past, Wall Street can get a little too excited about upcoming technology and how it can revolutionize the world. There was an internet boom for a while, and even though the internet has caught up, a lot of the valuations were stretched, and we have giant crashes. So I like the technology. I like the upside potential. We have to wait and see, exactly how far it goes. There's rumors that AI is going to crush our workforce and everyone's going to be out of a job. I mean, Microsoft cut 3% of their employees for redundancy. So it's not a huge industry yet, but in the future, who knows?
Yeah, very good point. And I think that was some of the things that stood out to me from Jensen's talk on the call anyway yesterday, was basically all of the future areas that AI could benefit. He was talking about in factories, in automobiles. There's so many different areas where AI has yet to really be implemented at a commercial scale yet. Do you think that plays a big role in the future success of this company?
I mean, look, it's his job to cheerlead the company, cheerlead the technology. Everyone's all excited about the future, but the future could be 10 or 20 years from now. We'll probably have 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 crashes in between now and when everything really plays out. I'm just a little, too experienced in this game. This isn't my first rodeo. Nanotech was supposed to blow up. 3D printers were supposed to blow up. So we've seen a lot of these revolutionary technologies come and go. AI seems a little broader and, it does make all businesses more efficient, but I take everything he says with a grain of salt.
That's a really good way to look at this. And I know you have a list for us today that we're excited to share. Before we get to your list, I do want to hear your take on where you think Nvidia could get by the end of the year. And not as a company, but more so as a stock price. The bullish outlook right now is that 220 range. We have an analyst at MarketBeat who's very bullish on the future of Nvidia just this year. Where do you think this stock could go?
Yeah, I mean, I used to short sell stocks. I'm not a short seller anymore. So I wouldn't short it. I wouldn't, bet against all this innovation and technology. Like I said, the valuation is stretched, but the valuation has been stretched for a while and they keep beating expectations. So as long as they keep, in the current trend, the uptrend of the stock price should continue. I don't think $200 is out of the question. But again, I don't want to chase. If you are watching from the sidelines, I would wait for them to screw up or something, in the world to happen where you get a nice 20% dip. We recently had, a whole tariff situation and the whole market had a 20% dip. I like coupons. I like saving money. So I don't like paying full price. I wouldn't chase it. I would wait for a dip.
Now, I know that advice applies to at least one or two of the companies on your list today, which is three stocks that are rising right alongside Nvidia. These are companies you found through your own specialty of trading in stocks right before they see a huge swing. It's something you've been doing for years now, and the list of three stocks you're sharing today still have some strong potential for big spikes ahead. If you want to learn more from Tim and get the inside scoop on the stocks he's following for explosive trades every day, just scan the QR code now or click the link in the description of this video. Great advice on Nvidia for sure, but now I want to get to your list of three companies that are rising with Nvidia. Before you name the first one, talk about why there's so many options out there for different companies, different stocks that are really tied to Nvidia's success.
Yeah, so NVIDIA, and AI are basically synonymous right now. In order to do a lot of these AI applications, you need NVIDIA chips. They're the clear leader. They have such a huge head start over all their competitors. So really, AI is this whole ecosystem. And like, the CEO said, it's just beginning. And you'll start seeing many different sectors. NVIDIA is also investing in other companies because not only are they selling chips, they want to actually promote different businesses. So it's pretty interesting to be the supplier of the chips that powers a lot of these AI businesses. And they can start to see which companies, which sectors, which industries have a little more momentum. And then they kind of like double dip, so they have a lot of customers where they're actually investors in the companies too. So, you can kind of get a good lead on which companies are doing better because if NVIDIA is investing in them, then theoretically they're doing well.
That's a really good point, and that is a good lead in to your list. What is the first company you have for us that is kind of rising with NVIDIA's success?
So this is CoreWeave. They just IPO'd. The stock has been on fire. I mean, I'm looking at the market cap, and it's gone up so much. I mean, this is a $56 billion company now. Just a few weeks ago, it was less than half of that. So this has been like a pure play because, again, NVIDIA is a big customer, and this stock just spiked because NVIDIA actually upped their stake, owning nearly 10% of this company now because they really seem to believe in it. And when they IPO'd, it was, I think it was a little over 5%. So they've nearly, doubled their position, which again, NVIDIA knows where the industry is going. They see where the momentum is, so they're pushing it. That said, going back to valuations, a lot of analysts are actually downgrading CoreWeave. The ticker is CRWV, just because the valuation is stretched. But again, I wouldn't bet against it. I would just wait for a dip. There will be inevitable dips. You can watch the stock, put it on your watch list, and then wait for a 20, 30% dip. That's when I would enter.
I think this is a good point to point out. You're not saying buy right now at the high that it's at, but put it on your list of a company to watch because it is going to be successful. I think that's great advice. Talk a little bit about what it does. What is going to make this company successful?
Yeah, so they're really in bed with NVIDIA, with the chips, with the future of AI. So it's actually pretty amazing. They also signed a deal with Google, so they're also diversified a little bit away from just NVIDIA. Let's not forget, AI is just starting, and you have all these major companies from Meta to Apple to X to Tesla to Amazon. Everyone's now chasing this AI boom. And right now, a lot of the stocks that are spiking the most, they're just building the hardware, they're building the chips, they're building the servers that powers the AI boom. If you go back to like the Industrial Revolution, you needed factories, you needed all of this, hardworking machines. And now we're taking those same kinds of machines and, putting it with a kind of sci-fi twist.
Yeah, very good point. Well, let's move on to the second company on your list. What's another stock out there that is rising with NVIDIA?
So they just actually invested in this other company called Navitas Semiconductor. I want to pronounce it right. The ticker is NVTS. And the stock, just exploded. This stock went from, I'm looking at the chart, from $2 a share up to $6 a share. This is a relatively small company at only $1 billion valuation. So you have to think, why would NVIDIA, where they can invest in any company whatsoever, why would they invest at the time? It was like a $500 million company. This is a company that actually makes next generation AI data centers. So if you look at the amount of data that AI consumes, it's massive. And these guys have a new technology where theoretically it can power future AI applications and, store all that data. And then obviously the data has to be efficient. So that's what this company does. NVIDIA is a customer and an investor again. So it's very much a beautiful symbiotic relationship.
There's a couple of these new data center stocks out there. We just talked about Applied Digital on the channel last week, of these smaller companies that seem like they have great potential for growth. But there's the other side of that argument where some people are saying, well, maybe we won't need as many data centers as we thought. Microsoft pulling back on their data center investment a little bit, giving some people pause and question of where this industry could go. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like you always have to worry about when a stock goes too far, when an industry goes too far. I really don't think that we're in a place in the AI industry where there's like just a glut and there's going to be so much excess. I think people are just building, companies are building to prepare for the future. And with NVTS, it's not just about how many data centers, it's how efficient is each data center. So there's always going to be a need for higher and higher performance as AI gets more complex. Like you said, this could be inning number 1 or inning number 2. This is just the beginning. So I think that obviously the data server industry is rapidly evolving, but there will always be a need for more complex, more efficient servers.
And if you're looking at the wide range of new companies out there, of these data center companies, picking the one that Nvidia is investing in seems like a good bet.
Nvidia knows. This is what I'm saying. A lot of people like buying stocks like, bottom of the barrel, the weakest of the weak, but those are usually the ones that perform the worst. They oftentimes go out of business. If Nvidia is investing in it and they have their choice of any company they want to work with, any company they want to invest in, you have to think this is best of breed.
Yeah, very good. Well, let's move on to that third pick of a company that's rising with Nvidia.
So this one is a little more speculative. This is WeRide, WRD, and this is a Chinese company that's developing autonomous driving. And obviously, this is one of the biggest potential sectors for AI, where you have robo-taxis, you have automatic driving. Tesla has obviously started the trend. Uber's getting into it. And we don't know where this technology goes. So there's a lot of different companies vying for position. But again, Nvidia invested in WeRide. So I like looking at companies that Nvidia personally invests in. Obviously, any technology can take over any company, whether it's in China, whether it's in America. It could excel in the future, but Nvidia just invested. And this stock actually spiked from roughly $15 to $40 a share on that Nvidia investment. It got a little ahead of itself. Now the stock is actually down to 10 just a few weeks later. So there's a huge amount of volatility. Like I said, I don't want to chase anything. I also wouldn't necessarily be in this stock right now. I'm just watching. I want to see if Nvidia keeps investing, because in the past, sometimes they've invested and then they've sold, where, maybe they think the technology has potential, but then it doesn't pan out over 6 or 12 or 18 months and they get out. So we have to see if, this new position as of February 2025 is going to continue. Maybe they add to their position. But again, if you chase the news 15 to 40 and now it's all the way down to 10, you can really get crushed. So you have to be very careful. You have to rein in that hype.
Volatility with these speculative stocks is hard. And every time we talk about autonomous driving, I like to get your take on how long you think it could be before we see it pay off. Many of these companies are so early on in that investment. How far out is that payoff for these companies?
I mean, I believe it's anyone's guess. Like, if you look at these new technologies, even, with quantum computing, some people say 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I mean, everyone likes to guess. I'm not a scientist. I'm not that, smart in that capacity. I know stocks. I know trading. So I like to believe that it's coming sooner than later. But what we've seen is that, this technology is very difficult to build. Although I will say, when you have, pioneers like Elon Musk getting involved, from what I've read, he's pushing it very forward. He obviously just exited his job in the U.S. government. He's focused purely now on SpaceX and his Twitter or X, and then also autonomous driving. So we'll see. It's heading in the right direction, but whether it's 6 months away, 12 months away, I know Dubai has a few prototypes. We'll see when it becomes mainstream. Even when it's out there, like, how will the initial tests go? There's a car company called Waymo that's been doing fantastic. It's been doing much more business lately because, it's still a little scary to take a taxi with no one there. But at the same time, more and more people are getting used to it. So I think the next 1, 2, 3 years are going to be really fascinating.
It will be interesting to see in that timeline of 1, 2, 3 years. I might be in the market for a new car, and I go, maybe I'll just hang out and wait for those autonomous vehicles. Who knows, right?
I mean, look, Elon Musk gave an interview where he's talking about, people have gotten used to renting out their homes for Airbnb. why not potentially rent out your cars, where if you buy a car and you're not using it, let's say you're at work or you're asleep, and then the car can drive on its own and you're getting some money from it. But, at the same time, anybody who's bought a Tesla in the past few years has gotten crushed on the resale value. So, you have to really take everything these guys say with a grain of salt. A lot of them are just pitching best case scenario and then real life intervenes. But I do think over time we're heading in the right direction, and these are all companies and technologies to watch.
Very good. Well, Tim, thank you so much for bringing these to our attention. I know you have a lot more knowledge and stocks to share on your own channel, on your own company. Talk a little bit about your program.
This is what I do. I'm always looking at stocks. I'm here in Italy right now. I was in Peru last week, Mexico 2 weeks ago. I love to travel the world. I love to live the laptop lifestyle on my laptop right now. But I'm always trading. I'm always teaching. And I'm looking for volatile stocks, and I'm looking for catalysts. So that's why this is really beautiful when Nvidia invests in a company. The stock is up 100, 200, 300% within a few hours or days. I try to ride that momentum, but at the same time, I always lock in profits. I usually actually sell too soon, but I say, take single after single. Don't go for home runs. That's the way I trade. I have the patience of an ant. So I'm literally looking at like 10 stocks, even as we're giving this interview. The market is hot. The volatility is there. Just learn, just focus on learning. And this is what I do to try to help teach people. I've been doing this now for 25 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of experience to share with those who are interested in trading or who maybe just want to get in on these stocks before they see that first big swing. Thank you so much, Tim, for sharing this list of 3 stocks to watch with our viewers here today on MarketBeat. We love having guests like Tim come on the show, and the best way to keep these new guests coming is to hit that subscribe button right now. It really means a lot for everyone who's already subscribed and continues to follow our content here on MarketBeat. We love having you. Once again, if you want to learn more from Tim or hear more of his stock picks, we have that link right in the description of the video and pinned in the comments too. I want to hear from you in the comments. Do any of these 3 companies stand out? Are you invested in them, and how have they been performing for you? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, happy investing.